Hey everybody, I am here with my top 10 Halloween decks for the spooky season. These are decks that I associate with Halloween, Samhain, the dark time of year. Just showing you some of the decks that I have that I associate with this time. Just sharing with you a little bit of spooky tarot joy for the week. So out of my top 10, I'm going to start with the very obvious Halloween decks. And so first on this list, I have the Halloween Tarot. This is by Kipling West. I love this deck. Those of you that follow me for a while know that I use this like just about every October. If you're following me on Instagram or on TikTok, you'll see that I have my little daily or almost daily tarot videos that use this. I just love this deck. I think it's a really cool, fun deck. We've got bats for swords. We've got imps for wands. Let's see, what else do we have here? I get the other ones. Ghosts we have for cups, and then we have pumpkins for pentacles. It is just such a fun deck. It's very Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's got the Halloween type themes for it, and then the major arcana, you've got all sorts of different monsters and different sort of like spooky themes to them. So it's just like a really fun deck for this time of year. I like spooky things, but I sort of like more spooky fun things. Some exceptions, of course, but I think that this is just a really fun, great little deck for this time of year, and it reads really well. And then the backs make me think of those molasses candies that I know a lot of people don't like, but I actually quite like them. When I was younger and we'd get them in the bags when I go trick-or-treating, my brother didn't like them, but I would always eat them, so I love those. Next on, the very obvious Halloween-themed type decks is the Halloween Oracle. This is by Stacy DeMarco. Some people love this deck. Some people hate this deck. I love this deck. I love, too, that the inside is orange because, of course, it is, right? The back is kind of cutesy, but the front is not so much. And I think it's just a really interesting deck. I think it's like goes a little bit deeper than maybe what people might think based on the back of the cards. Like, I love this keyword regret for ghosts. We've got hearth here. Lots of not just Halloween theme, but definitely very fall and into winter type themes. One complaint about this deck is that it has a lot of skulls in it. There's like skulls of flowers, skull of stars, all these different ones. That doesn't bother me too much, but I can understand why some people might find that a little repetitive. Got the owl here, the veil. So lots of themes of this time of year. Skeleton, got the graveyard. I just think it's a really cool deck, and I think it's great to pull out at this time of year. So that is the Halloween Oracle. And of course, when you're thinking about Halloween, I also think about spooky monsters and things like vampires. So I have a couple of vampire decks here. Actually, these ones I used in September because to me, September is also part of spooky season. So I have here the Tarot of the Vampires. There's a couple of different decks with this name. This is the one that comes with the Phantasmagoria guidebook, which I know a lot of people really love. So we have knives instead of swords. This is if you love sort of like gothic vampires, you will love this deck. We've got skulls instead of pentacles. It's a beautiful death card here. As you can see, I've had this deck for a while. I think I got it in 2010. So this deck has been around for a while. The sun here, that's really beautiful. We've got grails for cups. And I'm trying to remember what we have for fire. Scepters for the wands instead. But it is a very beautiful deck. If you love beautiful gothic vampires, you will love this deck. And the guidebook that comes with it is fantastic. I love the color schemes in here. It's just, it's a very lovely gothic kind of deck. And then I paired it with, of course, the Lay Vampire Oracle. So this is Jasmine Beckett Griffith and Lucy Cavendish, the Big-Eyed Girls. And I love this deck too. This deck is another one that I think because of the Big-Eyed Girls and stuff, people, kind of pass it by and think maybe it's not as serious. But I think it's actually quite like a good deck. Definitely good for sort of more shadowy work and for, looking at things a little more in depth. I find that it paired very well with the Tarot of the Vampires. So we have courtesy, thoughtful, polite, good manners. Menad. So it's not just vampires in here. There's a lot of sort of spooky fairy tales, supernatural, creator. Again, very beautiful, lots of art history references. And you've got some of her older artwork. You can see that there's like a style difference there. Free will, hope. But again, another very gothic, beautiful kind of deck. If you're into kind of the spooky but beautiful gothic vampires, definitely another one to take a look at for this time of year. Next, we're going to look at some decks that are not overtly, you know, Halloween, Samhain kind of themed, but they still very much make me think about this time of year. And this one may not be a really obvious one, but this is the Raven's Prophecy Tarot. Now, right away, we've got the black and orange color scheme, which, you know, obviously is very Halloween-y. But there's some of the cards in this are just, they make me think about fall. They make me think about the dark time of year. I mean, again, we've got a lot of black backgrounds and we've got the orange border. But it's also, you know, some of these cards are quite visceral. And then we've got these, you know, the King of Wands here. We've got these stag horns, but they're also very fiery. And it makes me think of like bonfires and it getting dark at night. Got these flowers kind of decaying here. Lots of just very sort of darker imagery. We've got lots of crows going on in this deck as well. I guess the ravens, because it's the Raven's Prophecy. But I'm looking for, there's some cards in here that are quite visceral. Like they have, you know, they have like bloody hands and they have, you know, bloody nails and things in them. Lots of fiery imagery, which I associate with this time of year because we are in the Northern Hemisphere anyway, in a dark time of year. We've also got these beautiful flowers as well, which, you know, may be a little more summery, but overall, I do think of this deck as being particularly geared towards fall, and I often find I end up using this deck in November. I just find it is kind of that bridge between, you know, Halloween and Christmas season, sort of that more darker type imagery. Here we've got the big bonfire. See if I can find any of the images that I was talking about. Because, of course, when you're talking about something, you don't find it, right? Like, we've got a lot of hand imagery, like hands like that. Like this. This is what I'm talking about. The Knight of Swords with the bloody scissors, you know? I think it very much goes with this time of year. Even if it isn't, you know, very directly, overtly Halloween-y, I think that it is definitely kind of a darker deck and one that can be used for kind of more, I guess, like internal type work. I think it's a really great reader. I think it has a lot of insight. To me, it has a lot of very Scorpio type energy, Scorpio type season. Then we have here the Deep, Dark, and Dangerous Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. I got this one, I think, last year or the year before. Love the snakes inside. So this, you know, there's a lot of sort of more darker gods and goddesses. There's various mythical monsters in here, which again go with, you know, this spooky time of year. So we've got the Fetch here with Mirror, the Lemure, Loneliness, and get a load of the backs of them. Very beautiful. Don't know what a Kate Sith is, but it definitely looks monstrous. More Molikia. I don't know this one. Very cool. The Chimera. And it's got mythology from all over the world, which I really like too. I love when people do that because then I learn about things that I don't necessarily know about. We've got the Kraken here. We've got Hecate or Hecate, however you want to pronounce it. We've got the Minotaur, Circe, the Erinyes, Kali, vampire. So a lot of like, not just gods and goddesses, but also like monsters and things like that too. And all sorts of beings from mythology. So if you like working with that kind of energy, I think this is great at this time of year. And get a load of the red gilding. I love it. Sucker for the gilding for sure. So very cool deck. Very pretty for this time of year. And then another one that's not directly Halloweeny, but it does make me think of this time of year, is the Oracle of Shadows and Light, another Lucy Cavendish and Jasmine Beckett Griffith deck. I actually like this one for November as well, because it has some more sort of typically Halloween imagery, but also has a little bit of winter and Christmas imagery as well. So we've got a sewer mermaid here. She's lounging in the sewer. She looks great. The three witchy sisters. Death and the Maiden. That's the cover. We've got a sea storm. So we've got kind of these mermaids, and they're kind of like more like the mermaids from mythology, where they're kind of dangerous. Grumpy red fairy, very cute. So out trick-or-treating, obviously very Halloween. But then we've also got, this is perfect, right after it, the snow angel, which, you know, leads into kind of that winter energy. So, you know, it's a great little deck. You know, it's got kind of a gothic, again, vibe to it. Very pretty. And it's got like a little bit of both sort of the Halloween and a little bit of like winter and Yuletide energy to it as well. So I like using this deck as well at this time of year. And then this time of year, we also think about demons, so I have to pull out the demon decks. We've got here the Fallen Angel deck, which is probably my favorite demon deck of them all. I think it's probably the best one. It's an oracle deck. The research on this is done really well. The guidebook on this is excellent. This is based on the 72 Goetic demons, kind of these demons that were categorized, or fallen angels, I should say. They are fallen angels. Not all of them are negative. The mythology is that the angels kind of split into two factions. One went with Archangel Michael, the other went with Lucifer, but there were some that just didn't pick sides, and they ended up in this category as well. I find this deck to be very truthful. I know this deck is not for everyone, but I find it to be one that does, you know, kind of talk about the shadow of things. It can warn you about, you know, behaviors that you might be indulging in that you shouldn't. It can warn you of dangers. It also, I find sometimes it talks about the shadow in that there's things that maybe are good about yourself that you're not seeing. So it's a very interesting deck. It's one, again, that I know isn't for everyone. It's very beautiful with the graveyard imagery in here, but it's a lovely deck, but I know it's not for everyone. However, if you're interested in fallen angels, you're interested in the Goetia, or some people say Goetia, whatever, however it's pronounced, tomato, tomato, I would recommend this deck. I think it is the best out of the ones that I have. It's a really lovely deck. Now, I'm going to show you two other decks that I have that have to do with Goetic demons or fallen angels. Just going to put that one there for a second. The first one is one I actually only use as a reference, and I know I've shown this one before. This one was a disappointment, I have to say. It is the Occult Tarot. It looks really cool. The outside there with the red gilding, you see it a little bit better there. It's packaged very well. You've got the red inside. You've got this cool book. It is not a tarot deck. It's not a tarot deck. It should have been made as a oracle deck, much like the Fallen Angel Oracle. All right, let's see if we can get these out. This to me is more of a reference deck than it is a deck that I would read with. Part of the problem of this deck is it is marketed, there I got some of it out at least, as a tarot deck. However, the book is terrible. The book, quite frankly, is not good. If you look up the meaning, it'll give you the meaning that's there, and then it'll say, for example, this is the Five of Cups. It'll say this demon relates to the Five of Cups. It does not tell you what the Five of Cups means, nor does the book tell you why they picked this one for the Five of Cups. So if you're a beginner, you're just learning tarot, this deck is absolutely useless to you. They don't tell you what the what the logic was, like none of it. These drawings are all drawn from a book from the early 1800s, like the Dictionary Infernal. So I think it is interesting in that it is a interesting collection of drawings from the Infernal Dictionary. But really, it's not much more than that. It's like a little, you know, you get a little keyword about, you know, some of the stuff that this particular fallen angel is purported to do or what their powers are, but it really is not a tarot deck. It's not even much of an oracle deck, to be honest. It's more of a reference deck, I find, for, you know, kind of these interesting drawings and what these various ones mean. So not the best deck to read with, but if you're interested in learning about these goetic fallen angels, then, you know, this might be good as a reference deck, or at least a place to start. It's just, I feel like there was a lost opportunity here. They really could have done something so much better. So beautiful packaging, but, you know, it's a reference deck. Next on this list is the Gaia Tarot. This one is much better thought out. But again, I don't really use this as a tarot deck. So this is, I got this in the Kickstarter because it is so beautiful. Let's see if I can zoom this out. It is just gorgeous. I got the beautiful box set with this beautiful book where he does talk about the meanings of each of the cards and why he picked them for this particular card. So much better thought out, much better written, very, very interesting. So if you are looking to work with these in a tarot deck, I would recommend this one. This particular set, there is a mass market version of this. So it is something you can get your hands on, but not in this particular format, just because this was, like I said, this was the Kickstarter. So these, oh my God, this is a work of art. Yep, let me go there. It's holographic. It's so beautiful. Like, just the art is so cool on this. And the color is holographic. It's like silver and black. And then you go like this and you get the rainbow. It's actually more silver and black to my eyes than to the camera. You get more of the holographic with the camera. It is just a really cool deck. Really cool. Very, very interesting art. I look at this deck. I don't actually do a lot of readings with this deck. To me, this is more a piece of art, a beautiful piece of artwork. Very well researched when it comes to the book. So if you're interested in, you like this art, you're interested in learning about this, I would recommend this deck. And of course, it's the perfect time of year for this. Perfect time of year. There is an angel version as well that matches this. I do not have it. It is in gold. But this is the one, I just saw it and I thought it was so incredibly beautiful. I had to get it. So that is my 10 Halloween spooky season decks. Let me know what your thoughts are. Which decks do you have? Which ones are on your list? What are you working with for the season? Loving this time of year. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to my patrons. You guys, I appreciate my patrons so much. They help me to keep doing this. If you're interested in my Patreon, please come check it out in the links below. If you want a reading, you can check out the Etsy shop. But thank you for everyone who watches and leaves comments. I love hearing from you all. You guys are great, and I hope you have a wonderful Halloween and Samhain season. And for you in the Southern Hemisphere, I hope you have a wonderful Beltane season.